The Nail Sports Central we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the Week 3 matchup between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Wisconsin Badgers. A huge matchup for both teams coming up here in Week 3. Alabama, very much a national contender at this point in the season, taking on Wisconsin, a team with a chance for a massive upset. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. So with that, let's get started. Both teams off to 2-0 starts. Alabama took care of South Florida 42-16 last week, which the game was a lot closer than the score showed. It was 42-16, but it really took till the fourth quarter for the Tide to finally pull away there. You look at Wisconsin on the other side, beat South Dakota 27-13. You could say a dominant win on the defensive side, but the offense really hasn't shined so far this season for Wisconsin. Put up 28 in Week 1, 27 in Week 2. So Wisconsin's offense definitely needs to come through if the Badgers want any chance of winning this matchup. Game's be on Saturday, 14th in Madison. So Wisconsin, they've got a strong home field advantage, but that's the one main thing they have going from here, because you compare these two teams side by side. It's no secret Alabama is the more complete team. They are the better team in this matchup. That's right, they're a 15-point favorite. But for Wisconsin, though, being at home in this matchup, their strong defense really needs to come through if Wisconsin has a chance in this one, because realistically, you look at how this offense has looked the first couple of weeks. It's tough to tell, obviously, because all Wisconsin has played is Western Michigan and South Dakota, but in both games the offense really wasn't too impressive, and that's why I'm concerned about the Badgers in this one. Over-under is 51.5. FPI is going Crimson Tide 92% here, so overall Alabama's a pretty heavy favorite in this one. Series history, tied 1-1. We saw a matchup back in 2015 where the Crimson Tide did pull it out. Stat comparison, Alabama is top 15 in both points per game and points allowed. You look at Wisconsin, 27th in points allowed, 51st though in points per game. So the defense has been off to a good start. The offense, though obviously putting up only 28 on Western Michigan, 27 on South Dakota, not exactly super impressive so far, but I would expect this team to be a pretty strong rushing team as well. That's something you can typically expect out of Wisconsin. Tyler Van Dyke, quarterback for this team now. He hasn't been terrible, but he definitely hasn't, I would say, stood out so far this season, especially in comparison to a guy like Jalen Milroe, who's already passed for 5 touchdowns on the season on only 23 throws so far. Your recent matchups, Alabama with 2 dominant wins so far this season over Western Kentucky and South Florida. And as for Wisconsin, you could say 2 dominant wins as well, but obviously a bit closer over Western Michigan and then South Dakota. Your key points for the Tide. Kalen DeBoer off to a dominant start for Alabama. Obviously, that's been a big question mark the past summer or so, was how is this team going to be? Obviously, Nick Saban being an incredible coach as long as he was for the Tide, it's obviously a huge adjustment, but so far it's been good for Alabama. This is the first test, though, that the Tide will face going on the road to a tough place to play in Wisconsin, despite Alabama still being, I would say, clearly the better team in this matchup. But they're a strong and balanced team led by Jalen Milroe. They got some experience on both sides they're working with still, but obviously it is a much different team than last year. Jalen Milroe's the main constant from last season to this season as far as talent is concerned. And this is, once again, you look at this team this past offseason, everyone talks about Georgia and Texas and even Ole Miss, but you didn't hear as much noise out of Alabama this past offseason, so that's obviously something that I'm sure the Tide are using here, and it's been working. They've had a nice start so far this season. Wisconsin on the other side, a strong defensive team, but the offense we haven't really seen shine so far this year. So, I'll say this. If the defense comes through, if Wisconsin can find a way somehow to get a defensive or special teams touchdown in this game, they should honestly have a legit chance. Otherwise, it's just tough for me to see Wisconsin really standing a chance in this one. Tyler Van Dyke's a good quarterback, but in comparison to what is such a tough Alabama defense, I just have a bit of uncertainty there. So, the defense going to need a huge game here for Wisconsin to keep it close, and it's just about, can Wisconsin find a way to sneak a win off of Alabama and pull off a major upset. But with that, let's get a prediction here for Alabama and Wisconsin coming up here in Week 3. Big Ten SEC matchup coming up here this week, and I'm going to go with the favorite here. I'm taking the Tide 27-17. I mean, I feel like this is one of those games that could be close at first. I wouldn't be surprised if, this was a close game all the way till the second half or even maybe the fourth quarter, but I do think this is a game where Alabama kind of pulls away late. Maybe you could say in similar fashion to what we saw last week against South Florida. But what it comes down to for me is Wisconsin. I just don't have much confidence in this Wisconsin offense right now. I mean, eventually, maybe the Badgers offense will come around, but so far they just haven't been very impressive. Their defense has been good, and that's why I think they keep it close. But Alabama's just too good of a team in the end, so I do think the Crimson Tide pull away and win this one. I will say about this game, though, the under on this game is a pretty good bet. Probably one of the best bets of this weekend. Wouldn't be surprised, a noon kick in Madison. I don't think Wisconsin scores much here, and I think the Wisconsin defense at least shows up and keeps it somewhat close, at least until the second half. But let me know your thoughts and comments below on this matchup, your score predictions, all of that. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. My name's Evan. This is All Sports Central. Stay tuned for more. We'll catch you on the next one.